What prisoners go through every day will leave you speechless. Behind the towering walls of Blackridge Correctional Facility lies a world few truly understand. Every clang of metal, every echoing footstep, and every flicker of a dim corridor light hide stories darker than any nightmare. To the public, it's just another maximum security prison. But inside? It's a breeding ground for secrets, survival, and silent wars. What happens when justice becomes punishment, and punishment becomes something far worse? Welcome to Blackridge, where every sunrise is a gamble, and every night could be your last. The story begins at dawn, when the alarms at Blackridge Correctional Facility scream to life. Guards rush down the long corridor of Cell Block D, boots striking against concrete, echoing like gunfire. Inmates press their faces against the bars, eyes wide with fear and curiosity. Something terrible has happened, again. Inside Cell 47, an inmate named Marcus Rain Hollis sits perfectly still, staring at his hands covered in something red. Blood. Not his own. He's been inside for 9 years for armed robbery, but nothing about this looks like another inmate fight. The blood belongs to his cellmate, or what's left of him. When Warden Cole arrives, the hallway falls silent. He's a man whose presence alone demands obedience, tall, gray-haired, and cold as the iron doors that seal this place. The body is pulled out on a stretcher, wrapped hastily in a gray blanket. The guards whisper, "That's the third one this month." The official report will call it an internal altercation. But behind the closed office door, Warden Cole knows it's more than that. 3 deaths in 1 month, all with the same marks on the victims, 2 deep incisions on the wrists, 1 horizontal slash across the chest. No weapon ever found. No witnesses ever talking. The prison psychologist, Dr. Evelyn Marks, is called in. She's been working with inmates for years, but lately, she's seen things that don't fit into her reports: strange transfers, missing files, surveillance cameras that mysteriously go dark hours before each death. She looks at the photos on her desk: 3 bodies, 3 identical wounds, and all in isolation units. Coincidence? She doesn't believe in those anymore. That night, as the facility goes into lockdown, the cameras capture something chilling. A shadow moves through the corridor outside Cell Block D. No uniform. No ID. Just a silhouette. It stops at Marcus's cell, lingers, then disappears into the darkness. Marcus lies awake, staring at the ceiling. He hears whispers, voices in the ventilation, names being called, numbers repeated. He presses his ear closer. It's not just noise. Someone's communicating through the pipes. 2, 4, 7, the same numbers scratched faintly on his cell wall. Morning inspection reveals something else: the wall behind Marcus's bed is hollow. When they pull it apart, they find a hidden tunnel, not leading out of the prison, but deeper into it. Inside the narrow passage lies an old utility door, rusted and locked shut. Carved into the steel are the same numbers, 247. Dr. Marks meets with Marcus in the interrogation room. His hands tremble, his eyes bloodshot. "You think I killed him?" he asks. "They're killing us from the inside." She leans forward. "Who's they, Marcus?" But before he answers, the guards storm in. The warden has ordered Marcus into solitary for safety. The look on his face says otherwise. As Marcus is dragged down the hall, his voice echoes, "Cell 247. Check Cell 247. Dr. Marks doesn't sleep that night. Something about that number gnaws at her. She pulls up old inmate records, but there's no Cell 247 listed in the official floor plan. Still, curiosity wins. The next day, she walks down to the lowest level, an abandoned wing closed years ago after a riot that burned half the block. The walls still bear scorch marks, the air heavy with mildew and decay. At the end of the hallway, covered in dust and rust, she finds it, Cell 247. The door still intact. The number barely visible. Inside, graffiti covers every inch of the concrete: names, dates, pleas for help. And then, near the far corner, she sees something else: a crude tally carved into the wall, dozens of lines grouped in 5s. Someone was keeping count. Suddenly, a noise, footsteps. She turns, flashlight trembling in her hand. "Hello," she calls. No answer. The air feels colder now, thicker. She backs out slowly, every instinct screaming at her to leave. But just as she turns to lock the door again, she spots something inside the cell: a photo, half buried under dust. It's of the warden, younger, standing with a group of inmates. The date on the back, 1999. One of the inmates is Marcus Hollis's father. Dr. Marks rushes back upstairs, clutching the photo. She knows she's seen that face, the older man with the cold eyes, same sharp jawline, same faint scar near the left ear. Marcus never mentioned his father, but now she realizes, this isn't random. The murders, the pattern, the secrecy, it's generational. When she confronts Warden Cole, he doesn't deny it. He simply says, "Some sins never leave these walls, Doctor." That night, Marcus disappears from solitary confinement. His name is wiped from the roster, his belongings removed, his records erased. Dr. Marks demands answers, but the guards look through her as if she's invisible. In the security office, one of the younger officers, clearly shaken, hands her a USB drive. "You didn't get this from me," he whispers. She opens the footage on her laptop in her car outside the prison gates. The video shows cell 247, from years ago. A man being dragged inside, beaten, screaming for mercy. The man in the video is Marcus's father. The warden's voice echoes off camera, "No one leaves Blackridge. Not even your bloodline." Dr. Marks drops the laptop, her hands trembling. The pattern, the blood, the disappearances, they all make sense now. The prison isn't haunted by ghosts. It's haunted by history. A history that's still being written, one inmate at a time. But as she starts the car to drive away, the radio crackles with static, then a voice cuts through, "Dr. Marks, they're watching you." Her headlights flicker. A black van pulls out of the shadows behind her. And as it follows her down the empty road away from Blackridge, one thing becomes clear: no one really leaves that place. Bloodlines of Blackridge. Outside the looming walls of Blackridge, the world looks deceptively normal. But for Dr. Evelyn Marks, the road home feels like a trap closing in. The headlights from the black van behind her stay locked to her rearview mirror, its engine humming low, steady, and patient, like a predator following prey. She turns off the main road and onto a dirt path leading to an old service tunnel, one she used to visit years ago as part of a facility expansion review. Her heart pounds as she kills the engine and hides behind a cluster of bushes. The van slows at the intersection, pauses, then continues past. She exhales, hands trembling. But when she looks up at the prison silhouette glowing against the fog, she realizes she's not done. She can't be. Not after what she's seen. Dr. Marks drives to a motel on the edge of town, the kind where the neon sign flickers and the carpet smells of mildew and cigarettes. Inside, she locks the door, shuts the curtains, and replays the footage. The more she listens, the more her stomach turns. There's something else in the background, faint, rhythmic banging, like a coded message. She enhances the audio. 3 beats. Pause. 2 beats. It repeats. It's Morse code. And it spells out one word: deep. The next morning, Dr. Marks returns to Blackridge under the guise of a mandatory psychological review for the staff. Warden Cole greets her in his office, his face unreadable. "You shouldn't have gone down to Block E," he says quietly, hands clasped. "That wing's off limits for a reason." Her response is calm but deliberate. "Because of what happened in '99. His eyes narrow. "You've been digging." She doesn't answer, just studies his face. There's a flicker of something human beneath the cold authority. Guilt, maybe. Regret. But it's gone as fast as it appears. "Whatever ghosts you think you've found," he continues, "they belong here. Leave them." She leaves his office, but not the building. Instead, she slips into the staff records room. Every file is digital now, but she finds the archived microfilms from the 1990s, back when records were harder to erase. She threads the reel through the viewer and begins scanning. Then she finds it. A classified report dated April 11, 1999, subject, Project Redemption, Behavioral Correction Through Psychological Isolation. Her pulse quickens as she reads. The project was a covert experiment run inside Blackridge. Select inmates were placed in extreme solitary confinement, deprived of light, contact, and sound, for up to 6 months, all under the guise of rehabilitation. The idea was to reset criminal behavior by breaking the mind. The lead overseer? Deputy Warden Nathaniel Cole. And the first batch of inmates? Names she recognizes. Including one, Isaiah Hollis. Marcus's father. The deeper she reads, the worse it gets. Several subjects reportedly disappeared during the trials. Others were recorded as reintegrated, but their files end abruptly. The entire project was sealed after a federal audit, or so the records claim. She takes photos of every page, tucking her phone into her coat. But as she exits, 2 guards step into the hallway, blocking her path. "Dr. Marks," one says, "the warden would like a word." They lead her down into the lower levels, not to his office, but toward the old isolation wing. The air grows colder, heavier. The lights flicker overhead. She recognizes the corridor immediately, the one leading to cell 247. The warden is already there, waiting, hands clasped behind his back. "You should have stayed away," he says. "I read the files," she replies. "You tortured men in the name of science. You destroyed their minds." He steps closer, his voice low, dangerous. "Do you know what these men did? Murderers, rapists, Predators, monsters. The government wanted results. I gave them results. And your precious Marcus Hollis? He's the son of one of my greatest failures. Her voice shakes. Where is he? Cole smiles faintly. Closer than you think. He gestures toward the cell. Inside, the door is open now. The graffiti has been scrubbed away, but fresh writing glistens on the wall, drawn in something dark and wet. A single word, deep. Before she can react, the door slams shut behind her. The lights die. She's trapped. The darkness feels alive, humming with whispers. She bangs on the metal door, screaming, but her voice bounces back hollow. Then, footsteps. Not the warden's. He's already gone. A faint light flickers to life near the corner. A shadow moves, slow, deliberate. Marcus, she whispers. The figure steps closer. His face is pale, eyes wild, but alive. They tried to bury me here, he says. But they made a mistake. I saw everything. He points toward the far wall. Beneath the paint, a vent cover is loose. Together, they pry it open and crawl into the narrow maintenance shaft. The air is suffocating, filled with rust and dust. They crawl for minutes that feel like hours until they drop into an underground room, an old control hub. Dozens of dusty monitors sit on a table, all showing black and white feeds from different parts of the prison. Marcus turns one of the dials, and suddenly, a hidden camera feed appears, live footage of prisoners being led into solitary, heads down, no chains, no guards visible. Each door slams shut. And on one of the screens, Warden Cole himself, standing in a control room above them, watching. He never stopped the program, Marcus says bitterly. He just made it invisible. Dr. Marx's eyes widen. He's still running Project Redemption. They copy the footage onto a drive and plan to get it to the press, but before they can leave, the door bursts open. The guards flood in, weapons raised. Marcus lunges forward, tackling one, shouting for Dr. Marx to run. She grabs the drive and sprints down the corridor, alarms now blaring through the tunnels. The world becomes a blur of flashing red lights and pounding boots. As she climbs a rusted ladder toward the surface hatch, she hears a gunshot echo behind her, one, then two. She hesitates, looks down, but the corridor is empty. Outside, she bursts into the cold night air, clutching the drive like her life depends on it. The forest beyond the fence looms dark and endless. She runs until her lungs burn, until the screams fade behind her. She reaches the highway and collapses near a passing truck. The driver, startled, helps her up. Ma'am, are you all right? What happened? She opens her hand, revealing the blood-stained flash drive. I just escaped hell, she whispers. But as the truck pulls away, a distant explosion lights up the horizon, back where Blackridge stands. Flames lick the sky. The prison is burning. And through the static of the truck's radio, the emergency broadcast cuts in. Breaking news, fire reported at Blackridge Correctional Facility. Unknown casualties. All staff presumed on-site. Dr. Marx stares at the inferno in the distance, realizing Marcus might still be inside. But before the transmission ends, one final line sends a chill through her veins. Surveillance confirms, the warden's body has not been found. As the screen fades to black, one question lingers. Was justice served, or did evil simply change its face? Because at Blackridge, the walls don't just keep prisoners in, they keep secrets alive. The fire that didn't kill the truth. The flames at Blackridge Correctional Facility could be seen for miles, orange against a black sky, like hell had clawed its way to the surface. Fire trucks screamed down the highway, police blocked the perimeter, and reporters gathered like vultures at dawn. But by sunrise, all that remained of the once impenetrable fortress was twisted steel, scorched concrete, and unanswered questions. Dr. Evelyn Marx sat in a hospital waiting room, her clothes still streaked with soot, her mind replaying every second of the night. The drive was gone. Stolen. Someone had taken it from her jacket pocket during the chaos. She didn't know who, but she had a feeling. A detective from the State Bureau, Special Agent Reed Lawson, walked in. Mid-40s, with the posture of a man who'd seen too much and trusted too few. You were inside the facility last night? He asked, voice low. I was. I tried to stop something. I didn't start that fire, she replied, staring at the cracks in the floor. He sat across from her, sliding a photo across the table, a grainy image taken from the prison's perimeter cameras, moments before the fire erupted. Then maybe you can tell me who this is. It was Marcus Hollis, walking out of the north gate, alive. Her throat tightened. He made it. Lawson studied her reaction. You know him? She hesitated, then nodded. He's the key to all of this. He leaned back. Blackridge wasn't supposed to have a north gate anymore. It was sealed after the '99 riots. So, tell me, doctor, how'd he find a way through it? She looked up at him, eyes dark with exhaustion. Because he was born in that prison. His father helped build it. Lawson raised an eyebrow, intrigued. You're saying this is personal? Warden Cole experimented on Marcus's father under something called Project Redemption. He buried it, but the records still exist, or they did. Marcus found them before the fire. Lawson's expression hardened. If what you're saying is true, that means there's still a lot of people who'd rather this stay buried. Before she could answer, 2 men in suits entered the hallway, flashing federal IDs. One of them whispered to Lawson, who frowned. Then he turned back to her. Dr. Marks, you're being transferred to federal custody for questioning. Her eyes narrowed. Federal? I thought this was a state matter. It was, Lawson said quietly. Not anymore. As they escorted her out, she saw something that froze her blood. One of the federal agents wore a ring with a crest she recognized. The same insignia she saw on the warden's uniform. She didn't say a word. But she knew then, the fire wasn't an ending. It was a cover-up. Meanwhile, 60 miles away, Marcus Hollis limped through the woods near an abandoned rail yard. His right shoulder was wrapped in blood-soaked bandages. He carried nothing but a black duffel bag, inside, a backup copy of the footage and the prison's original blueprints. He stopped at a small diner off the highway, ordered black coffee, and sat near the window. Every sound made him flinch, the clink of plates, the hiss of the coffee machine, the murmur of truckers trading stories. To them, he was just another drifter. But in his mind, the screams of the men who died in cell 247 still echoed. He pulled out a small envelope, marked EM, and set it on the table. A waitress passed by, glancing at it. You mailing that? She asked. Yeah, he muttered. To someone who deserves to know the truth. But before he could finish his coffee, he noticed a reflection in the glass, 2 men entering the diner, both wearing dark coats. One had the same crest ring on his hand. Marcus slipped out the back, running through the alley, his shoulder throbbing. The men followed. He darted through the junkyard behind the diner, ducking behind an old bus. When one of them turned the corner, Marcus swung a rusted pipe, knocking him out cold. The other fired. The bullet grazed Marcus's arm as he dove behind a car. He grabbed the fallen man's gun and fired back. The second agent fell, collapsing beside a crate of discarded tools. Marcus staggered to his feet, breathing hard. He checked the bodies, both carried government IDs under fake names. One of their phones was still unlocked. He scrolled through the messages. Cole's contingency must remain active. Retrieve the drive at all costs. The doctor is priority. He felt the air leave his lungs. Cole was alive. Back in federal custody, Dr. Marks was being transported in a black SUV through the outskirts of the city. The men in front said nothing. The silence was suffocating. Then, a loud pop. The vehicle swerved violently. Tires shredded. The SUV skidded into a ditch. Gunfire erupted from the tree line. The driver slumped over the wheel. The other agent jumped out, shouting into his radio. Dr. Marks ducked low, fumbling for the door. A hand yanked it open from outside. It was Marcus. Get in the back, he shouted. She hesitated, stunned. How did you? No time. She climbed out as he fired toward the tree line, covering her. They sprinted toward a second car parked nearby, an old blue sedan. As they sped off down the backroads, sirens wailed in the distance. When they finally stopped miles away, the world went silent again. Both of them sat there, catching their breath, the night pressing in. You shouldn't have come back, she said. I never left, he replied. Cole's still alive. Her face went pale. That's not possible. He was inside the building when it collapsed. Marcus reached into his bag and pulled out a charred photograph, Cole, standing beside a group of men in suits, taken decades ago. He wasn't working alone, Marcus said. Project Redemption wasn't just about breaking prisoners. It was about control, testing how far the human mind could go under pressure. Cole's people moved those experiments off-site when the fire started. Dr. Marks stared at him, horror dawning. You're saying they're still running it, somewhere else? Marcus nodded. And they're using the same inmates they claimed died in the fire. She covered her mouth, her mind racing. We have to expose them. I already tried, he said bitterly. Every journalist I contacted turned up dead or missing. They own the system. Silence hung heavy in the car. Then she said softly, then we don't use the system. She pulled a small device from her pocket, a hidden recorder she'd been carrying since the night of the first murder. Every conversation, every secret meeting, every threat, I've got them all. Marcus stared at her, a flicker of hope breaking through the exhaustion. Then we go public. She nodded. But not through the news. Through the people. They drove toward the city, toward a contact she knew, an underground journalist who ran a digital network exposing state corruption. But as they reached the outskirts, they noticed something strange. Every phone signal went dead. Every streetlight ahead flickered out. And from the darkness of the next intersection, a single figure stepped into their headlights, dressed in black, wearing the same crest ring. The warden. Alive. He raised his hand slowly, signaling them to stop. Behind him, several SUVs emerged from the shadows, blocking the road. Dr. Marks whispered, "Marcus, we're trapped." Cole's voice echoed through a loudspeaker, calm and steady. "You can't run from what you're part of. You were both chosen, for redemption." Marcus tightened his grip on the steering wheel. "Then let's show him what redemption looks like." He slammed the accelerator. The car roared forward. Gunfire erupted. Glass shattered. The screen fades to black as the headlights engulf Cole's silhouette. But just before impact, his lips move. The words are faint, almost drowned by the chaos. "This doesn't end with me." The prison that never closed. The crash was thunderous, metal against flesh, glass exploding, tires screeching as the car plowed into the blockade. When the smoke settled, everything was silent except for the sound of rain tapping against twisted steel. Dr. Evelyn Marks coughed, her vision blurred, the taste of blood metallic on her tongue. She looked to her right. Marcus was slumped against the steering wheel, unmoving. Steam hissed from the crumpled hood. Outside, flashlights cut through the darkness. Voices. Dozens of them. She reached for Marcus's shoulder. "Marcus, hey. Wake up." He stirred faintly, groaning. "He's not dead," he muttered, eyes half open. He moved before the car hit. Evelyn's heart raced. Through the shattered windshield, she saw him, Warden Cole, standing a few feet away, rain dripping down his face, eyes cold and unblinking. Not a scratch on him. "I told you," he said quietly, "this doesn't end with me." Before she could reply, armed men surrounded the car. They wore no uniforms, no insignias, just dark tactical gear and identical rings. Cole's private army. Marcus tried to open the door, but a rifle smashed against the window. Cole stepped forward. "Dr. Marks, you've caused quite the mess," he said. "You should have left the past buried." She spat blood, glaring at him. "You buried people alive in that place. You turned human beings into experiments." Cole smiled faintly. "Redemption has a price. You call it torture, I call it progress. Imagine a world where obedience could be engineered. No more prisons. No more crime." Marcus growled, "You call that redemption? You murdered my father." Cole's expression didn't change. "Your father volunteered. He wanted his son to grow up free. You just couldn't understand what freedom costs." Before Marcus could react, 2 guards grabbed him, forcing him to his knees. Evelyn lunged, but another guard restrained her. Cole leaned closer, whispering into Marcus's ear, "You shouldn't have come back. But since you did, I'll finish what I started." Then, a distant sound. Sirens. Cole looked up, annoyed. "That's not possible," he muttered. Floodlights swept across the trees as a convoy of black SUVs roared down the dirt road, government vehicles. The tactical agents turned their weapons toward the sound. Marcus seized the moment. He elbowed the guard holding him, snatched the man's pistol, and fired twice. Chaos erupted. Evelyn dove behind the wrecked car, bullets shredding the night air. Cole's men scattered, returning fire. The rain became a curtain of mist and noise. Evelyn crawled to Marcus, grabbing his arm. "We have to move, now." They sprinted toward the tree line as the crossfire intensified. The forest swallowed them, darkness their only shield. Behind them, Cole's voice echoed, furious, "You can run, but you can't hide from the truth." They didn't stop until they reached an abandoned church deep in the woods. The place looked half-eaten by time, broken pews, shattered stained glass, and the smell of damp wood. Evelyn slammed the heavy door shut and locked it. Both collapsed onto the cold floor, gasping. For a moment, neither spoke. Only the sound of rain dripping through holes in the roof filled the air. Then Marcus pulled something from his pocket, a small memory card. Evelyn stared at it. "What is that?" He smiled weakly. "Insurance. I hid a second copy of the footage before the fire." She took it with trembling hands, realizing what it meant. The evidence, the experiments, the torture, the cover-ups, all of it was right there. Enough to bring down Cole and everyone involved. But before she could even breathe a sigh of relief, a single bullet cracked through the church window. The glass shattered inches from her face. Cole's voice echoed from outside, distorted through a loudspeaker. "Give me the card, Evelyn, and I'll let you both live." Marcus laughed bitterly. "You've said that before." Evelyn's hands shook as she looked around. The church had no back exit, only the belfry above. "We have to get higher," she whispered. "Signal strength stronger near the tower. If I can upload this, it's over." Marcus nodded. "Go. I'll hold them." "Marcus, no." He cut her off, eyes steady. "They took my father. They're not taking you." Evelyn hesitated, tears mixing with rain. Then she climbed the ladder to the belfry, heart pounding. The structure creaked beneath her as she pulled out her phone, inserting the memory card. The screen flickered to life. Signal weak, but enough. Below, Marcus took cover behind the altar, returning fire at the soldiers flooding through the front doors. Every shot echoed like thunder through the hollow church. He was outnumbered, bleeding, but relentless. Evelyn's upload bar crawled forward, 23%, 47%, 61%, every second feeling like a lifetime. She could hear the chaos below, Cole shouting orders, gunfire shattering pews. Then, a click. A gun pressed against her back. She froze. Cole stood behind her, his face half lit by lightning through the broken window. "You're persistent, Doctor," he said calmly. "But persistence doesn't change the system." Evelyn didn't move. "You can kill me, but the world will still see the truth." Cole smiled. "Only if you finish uploading it." He raised his gun. A shot rang out. Cole staggered, confusion flashing across his eyes. Blood bloomed on his chest. He turned slowly. Marcus stood at the ladder base, one arm shaking, the pistol still smoking. "I told you," Marcus said, voice raw. "It ends with you." Cole fell backward, crashing through the shattered glass of the belfry window. His body hit the ground below with a sickening thud. Evelyn finished the upload. 100%. Sent. The footage, the documents, the voice recordings, everything was live on encrypted servers, auto-sent to multiple media outlets. By the time police swarmed the area hours later, the video had already gone viral. Blackridge Project, inside the prison experiments that broke the law. Headlines erupted worldwide. Politicians denied involvement. Protests filled city streets. Marcus was gone. Disappeared into the chaos before anyone could find him. Some said he escaped the country. Others whispered he was killed by Cole's remaining men. Dr. Marks testified before a federal inquiry. The government dismantled what was left of Blackridge Correctional Facility, declaring it a catastrophic failure of oversight. But behind closed doors, she knew, the system didn't die. It just changed names. Months later, she received an unmarked envelope in her mailbox. Inside, a single photograph. A new facility. New guards. And on the corner of the image, barely visible, a crest ring. On the back of the photo, a single line was scrawled in handwriting she recognized. The walls never fell. They just moved. M. Dr. Evelyn Marks sat quietly, staring at the photo as the world outside moved on, unaware that the next Blackridge was already open. Because prisons don't need walls to trap people. Sometimes, the system itself is the prison. And for those who survived it, freedom was just another illusion.